We are back.
We're back.
Episode. Episode 4, I think.
Yeah, episode 4.
It's flying.
Yeah, and this is like a highly requested episode.
It's true.
So that's why we're bringing it to you.
Yeah, we're bringing it to you. And it'll be a good one. I think a lot of people crave friendship and what that looks like and how we can be vulnerable with friends and how we can build, you know, a circle or a tribe or whatever around us. So I think this will be
and like healthy friendships without like a lot of drama. Things, so yeah.
So here we go.
This is the episode. I know. I'm like, this is the episode that I've been the most nervous to do.
Wow.
Even more than like the first one.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I think just because I have to humble myself and eat crow a little bit through this whole episode.
Is it easier? Maybe that because it's easier to talk about somebody else.
Oh, totally.
You didn't carry
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. No, that is true. So
I guess
it's
where do
fine,
we even start?
but I'm
I feel like
ready
we
for
have
it.
to start.
Yeah. Why don't we start for I'll be selfish again, and to make it easy for me, how about you share from your perspective and what happened, and then I can.
Well, I don't even think we need to share from my perspective.
Yeah.
I think we can flow.
Sure.
I feel nervous to do that. But I will say, like, how did we meet? Like, where did our stories line up?
Yeah.
So
take it away.
Take it away.
Go ahead.
Okay, well, it was a dark and stormy night.
Yeah.
I know. So, yeah, obviously, like, both of our ex-husbands were on staff at the same church.
Yeah.
And so we would have met in, 2000. Okay, well, we got married in 2009. So 2009.
Yeah.
Because you were there at that time.
Yeah. Yeah.
You were already there. So we met in 2009 as our husbands were both on staff as worship pastors. I get, right? Like,
yeah,
am I?
That's right.
Yeah,
no, you're right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so my ex and your ex were kind of like different site worship pastors. But yet they came together a lot. Like we did things together.
Yeah.
And so back in the day, like I feel like a lot of the staff women did a lot of things together.
Yeah.
When we were on staff, right?
Yeah, we did.
We'd get together for different like showers and I don't know, just Bible studies, get-togethers, all the things. I think we went to the moms group together.
Yep.
As well.
Yeah, and our kids were like you. My son's right in between your two.
Yes.
And then my daughter was just a couple years old. So we were like
older.
Same stage of life, young, married, young couples, young parents, little kids. So,
and we'd have like dinner parties at your house.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't know about if you would feel the same, but I felt like you were one of those people that as soon as I met you, I felt like I'd known you forever.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so we just like clicked right away. And so then it was really easy to have a friendship because we just really genuinely enjoyed spending time with each other.
We just did life together. We would go to the States. I don't know. We just did a lot
whatever.
together. 2012, when, my ex had left, you and your husband at the time were like super influential in like my healing journey. Like I think, you were there the night that I discovered the messages. You were there the night and you watched the kids when I could go talk to the pastor. Like you were obviously there, a big chunk of everything. And then I think, I don't even know how I didn't officially move in with you guys, but like, I think I just couldn't do it on my own, that I ended up, I think you were like, come stay over for a night. Cause you guys had like that room in the basement.
Yeah, that's right. And I think Dan was away too for a large portion, wasn't he? Like on a trip. So then it was like, just come over.
Something. So you're like, just come. Yeah. And so the kids and I just would sleep there like kind of night after night. And you were like in the thick of those first few months with me with like different, texting battles that would come up or different events or like you're scrambling at that point. Like but I remember being in the basement. I'd come upstairs in the morning and I some of it's blurred, but I do have memories of that. And then some nights that, Dan was there and he'd come home, we all have dinner together like one big happy family. Poor guy was probably like, I didn't sign up to take on another wife and 2 kids.
He's like, I can't even handle the one I got.
Yeah.
I don't even want this life and there's a whole nother family here.
He's like, great. But no, I think, And then I think, I don't know when it was, but probably in the December, I was like ready to stand on my own 2 feet. It had been a couple months, and I do remember going back home at some point in there. And yeah, I just remember you guys being like a big part of that like journey and that healing. And like I said in the previous episode, just like sending us away and like doing care packages and doing whatever you could. And you're scrambling, like, you know, like when in those first few months, like you're
just surviving.
You're surviving.
You're not even thinking of a day beyond the day you're in.
Yeah. And I think I was in a level of like pure desperation for like friends. And I think part of it was like, I didn't tell like any of my closest girlfriends for months.
Yeah.
Like he had left in the September. I was supposed to go to a friend's wedding at the end of October. And I had lied to them saying like I was super sick because I wasn't ready to share it, because in my mind I was like, we're going to get through this. Like, I don't want to share anything to make him look bad, because like we're going to get back together and we're going to do this. And I didn't want to show up alone. So it was either I lied and said we're both sick, or I lie and say like, I go and I just say he's sick. But I knew as soon as I saw people, they would know. Yeah. Like my people would like know. And so I hid it from a lot of people for the first several months, because I was just like, I don't want to make him look bad. I'm praying for my husband. I'm believing for this. Like, I don't want people to know. Yeah. Which, looking back, I'm like, man, I wish I would have like shared more. Yeah. So I feel like probably because I couldn't even, share a lot of my own stuff with, I think because I wanted to like give him a level of protection that, I probably was like, maybe a bit of like the needy, desperate friend, because I didn't know who else to call, because I was like, hey, and there was like maybe 2 other people. But other than that, like not a lot of people knew what was going on. So I probably like put a lot on you or the other 2 people in my life at the time to like almost help me get through the day to day. I don't know.
Well, and I feel like in that moment, like felt for you so much, because I felt like I knew exactly how you felt. I knew what betrayal felt like, even if you didn't know a full picture, because I also was like trying to hide things and believing that things would get better. And but so I
knew
really,
some stuff, but I didn't even know
the
full extent of what you were going through.
Yeah, because I felt like there was a certain amount of stuff that like Dan shared to have the like illusion of transparency. And so it's like, I knew I could share up to that point. Right. But then there was other stuff that was like, well, no, we're not going to share that.
And we don't talk about that.
So I didn't, but but I just felt like I could feel right with you what was happening, and just felt sick to my stomach of like, this is so awful. Like I just didn't want that for you. I didn't want that for your kids. Like,
and you were just like there, like consistently, like, you helped, like you were like there through the thick of it. Like it was like you and Mel at the time, like that's kind of who was there, because I didn't allow other people to be there for the first couple months at least. Yeah.
And even proximity, like we're 5 minutes away from you. Yeah. Which is so much easier than,
absolutely. And people were there, and even Mel, she would do whatever she could to like come and like drop off things and be like, oh, like I'll take the kids, or come I spent a lot of time with her, just even in like the 3 of us, like me, Mel, and Justin. It was like the 3 amigos. We always said it, because like I needed that time, like you said, when you just went over to people's houses and just to like not be alone. Yeah. Like to not be alone. So then I don't know, like I can't pinpoint where it went, where it twisted with you and I. Yeah. And maybe you'll be able to share this different guys. We've never talked about this.
But not even to each other, really. We've like beat around the bush about it.
In the room.
Yeah.
Even as
I'm like,
okay. But even as we
let's just do it on camera, why not?
Yeah. Even as we started to talk about this podcast, it was the elephant in the room for sure. And we addressed, like, we beat it around the bush. Like, oh, well, like, and then, a couple weeks ago, Pam had said to me, I think we should like actually address the elephant in the room. And I was like, well, hold off. She honestly had some tears in her eyes. And I was like, hold off. What if we keep this super vulnerable? Yeah. And do it in front of the camera? She was like, oh no. But
I know.
you didn't have to do it if you didn't want it. We could have just done it privately.
But I agree. I think it's important because I guess if we're still kind of dancing around it, we were very close. Like every day talked, every day we're almost together. We had a falling out and then we didn't talk for 6 years.
Well, no.
Right?
No. So we had a...
Right. Okay.
Well, we had a falling out. Then we came back together.
Did we? Oh, yeah, you're right. Well, we had like a mini falling out. Like more like
probably like... But it was like, I think 6 months.
Yeah.
So like enough. And then... and then like a big one.
Right. Where we did not talk. And I mean, you did... 7 years. I'm genuinely not using this as an excuse. I do think this like... Partly too, you moved away,
absolutely.
like 2 hours away in that time. I do think that had we lived in the same town, it never would have went on that far.
Long.
But it was just so easy to just like, we never ran into each other like in the mall or at our kids' school.
Except there was a few run-ins that we've never talked about.
Just in Florida, that was fine. Just went all the way to Florida. I was like, time. Really? I don't remember the Target one.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
because I was like, well, how do I keep running into her out of all the places
in a different country?
I live 2 hours away from you,
and
I'm running into you in another country.
I remember seeing you in Florida.
Oh, hang on. But
okay,
we'll get there. But like, not even just seeing us in Florida. We were staying
in the
same building, at the same hotel, at the same time, and we had not talked.
And we
years.
had no idea until we saw each other there.
And then
I feel like that was God trying to be like, pushing us together, be like, you two need to work this out.
Absolutely.
And we were just both like, no, nothing to see here. But,
I think we both darted in the opposite direction.
Yeah, that was really mature.
Maybe you so more than me. I don't know.
Probably.
I'm totally making that up. But anyways.
Yes. So
rewind. So we were very close.
Had
a little blip. And maybe you can talk about that. Because even that one is like, you were obviously going through stuff at that time. So maybe the first blip, and then we'll go to the second blip, or together, I don't know.
Well, they're all the same. Yes, so something that I can be honest about myself, and it's something I'm working on. I wouldn't even say that I'm 100% better at it, but you know how you talked, I think it was like the first episode about like people like fight, flight, or freeze. Or
yes.
And I've been told this by therapists and by other good friends, people keep me accountable. When I'm super overwhelmed, like I feel like I have a pretty high threshold for like stress and whatever. But then it's like when I reach that threshold, I would just retreat. Right. Like I won't answer texts. I won't pick up my phone. I won't see people. It's not good. It's not healthy.
Right.
And I just can't, it's like I can't sort through it in a logical way. So I just pretend
you don't know what else
it's not happening. I stay away from the situation or the person. And that's something I've been trying to get better at because it's not helpful to me. It's hurtful to other people.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just not even like I've had friends before. My one friend, she's moved now, but she used to live a couple streets over. And there was a few times when I've been going through a hard time. And she's, you know, I just kind of retreat. I'm not responding to people's messages, whatever. And she has texting nothing, and gotten to a point where she was like, this is your last chance. If you don't reply, I will call the police to do a welfare check.
Are you alive?
You cannot do this. Or she would just show up at another friend, Anne. A few times she just showed up at my house.
Yeah.
She would literally just walk in the door and be like, what are you doing? Yeah. And I'd just be like, ah. And she'd be like, okay.
For sure.
And she was like, don't do this. Like, you have to, like, when people, you know, when you're struggling, you can't just whatever. So I think for me, like, in both of those times, I think that the common struggle we had was good and bad.
Yeah.
Like, I could feel for you and had so much, like, such a heart for you and what you're going through and your kids and wanted to support you.
Yeah.
But I think practically there were moments where I just couldn't. I was way too overwhelmed, and I should have said to you as a friend, like, hey,
this is what's going on.
This is what's going on. Or even if I didn't feel like I could say everything, to just to articulate it instead of just disappearing.
Right.
To say, like, I'm really stressed out. I want to be here for you, but this is all I can do right now because of XYZ. Instead, I think because I would feel bad and feel guilty and feel embarrassed to share or feel like, oh, I'm not being a good friend.
Share.
So then I would just like back off and be like, oh, it's just too much, and make up some sort of excuse of like why I couldn't, you know. And I think after the first kind of blip, I did sort of like admit that without admitting everything was going on. I was just like, I was overwhelmed and things aren't good with Dan and whatever. And you were very gracious, like, okay, no problem. And then we kind of went on with our...
Well, and I think from my like side of things, right? It was like we were so close, like you said, so close, so close, so close. And then it was just like, I call it the what is it? The whatever, I don't even want to, but the breakup text, friendship breakup text, because it was like through like email or text. I can't even remember. Yeah. And it was just like, I can't do this with you right now. I'm too overwhelmed. I don't even know. I don't even think you said I was too overwhelmed. But whatever it was, it was just like,
like
I can't, blah,
break,
blah, 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 blah.
Whatever. Yeah.
And I think I was just like, wait, what? Like, because, this is going to be hard for me, I think.
It's okay. That's okay. Just tell me,
I think waterworks. No, because I don't want you.
Oh, no, it's okay. If we cry, it's okay.
This is Lord, we don't even cry.
I know.
The lives of our marriages. Wow. Okay, wow. Okay.
Sorry.
I think looking back, oh, wow. Lord Jesus. Okay. I think for me, I was most hurt because I had already gone through the betrayal, right? Like I had already lost my best friend.
Yeah.
I had already lost my husband. And so then it just felt like, oh my gosh, I'm just losing another like best friend again. And so then I get angry. Like I am a loyalist to like my core, to a default. Okay. Like I am like loyal. But I remember, for sure that first message when it was like, okay, I was peeved because I was like, how dare she? Like, how dare she? Like abandon me. Like, I already have abandonment issues. Like, what is happening? Like, and now that I know the full story and more, like, on this side I can see more so where you were coming from. But at the time, like, and again, I think that just goes to show, like, in friendship, like, freaking say the hard thing. Like, have the conversation so that you don't get to the point where somebody else is questioning something when, like, I think things could have been so much different had you maybe said like, hey, 100%. This is what I'm going through. Yeah. This is what's happening. So then obviously we had the blip and then you came back to me and was more honest. Yeah. And kind of said like, hey, I'm really sorry. Like this is what's been going on again, but you didn't still go into full detail with me. You told me, I think probably again, same thing, what you could. Yeah. And then we kind of just went back to the beginning again. Yeah. And I knew that you and Dan were going through like another rough patch for sure, but we'd be at the gym and I remember like because it was around the time that I started dating my now husband. I'm like, wait, what names can I say and what names can I say? No, I can say that one. So my now husband. And we would be at the gym and like talking about wedding details and wedding and like you were like in it. You were like, oh my gosh, like
I was so excited for you.
I love and like this is like, oh, you just get to start over and like God's redeeming everything and like all the things, right? And looking back, like that would have been hard maybe for you to even when you're in the thick of like a hell marriage, let's like call it what it is, and trying to be happy for someone that's moving on, but you wonder, like you're fighting for your marriage, but like living in hell. I don't know. I don't even know what was probably you were thinking in those moments. Like you were genuinely happy for me, and I know that because I felt that.
Yeah, and I do feel like it didn't bother me at all. Like I was just so happy for you. I thought there's nobody that deserves kind of this second chance more. I was happy for even you just to have someone to share your life with and to do life with because even as a friend, like I was worried about you because life was so hard for you. And just to be like, oh, thank God, like someone's coming just to love her and to just share the burden of life. But I think for me, it was like, this is so stupid looking back. It was like, as we were planning wedding stuff, it was like the practical stuff overwhelmed me. Right. And instead of just saying, and it's so funny because we had one mutual friend that I talked to about it, and she did tell me, she was like, you need to just sit down with her and just be honest. And I was like, no, I can't. Like, she's gonna get upset. She already has so much going on. I'm just gonna back off. Yeah. And the thing that was hard, it was like you had two maid of honors, right? Myself and Mel. Yeah. Which in my dysfunctional thinking, I was like, well, it's fine if I pull back because she already has, it's not like she's losing. She has Mel as the maid of honor. Yeah. Everything will be fine. Yeah. Like me, I'm not thinking about, the abandonment issues, the hurt, the whatever. Sure. I'm just thinking like, really, it was like selfishly, I'm like, I can't do this. I'm overwhelmed. Like, I wanted to make everything so great for you. And then even at the same time, like things weren't good with Dan. And I remember a couple conversations too, where he was saying to me, you're not spending money on this wedding. You're not spending money on a bridal shower. You're not doing this. And And then I felt stressed because I'm like, well, but that's going to be the expectation.
Right.
Because you're the maid of honor.
Yeah.
And then like he's saying no. And like, I don't want to make him mad. And because the thing with Dan is, and I feel like still like this to this day, like he's very generous when he's in control of the giving and when he gets credit for the giving.
Right.
But he doesn't like it. Like if I was just to do something for you.
Yes.
Outside of him, well then that's not. But if he can do something or we can do, then he's more open to it.
Right.
But if he's just not going to get any credit, any recognition, he's often not as interested, which was our whole marriage. Even things with like weird things, like, you know, I would want to buy the kids like a certain outfit or a pair of shoes or whatever, and it would be like no. But if we were all at the store together and the kids asked for that same pair of shoes, it's like, oh, sure, because he can give it. So, like, and there was just so much stress on that end of like,
because when you're called to be in the role of like maid of honor, it's like a high calling,
right?
No,
it is, but it's big responsibility.
It's a big responsibility, and so like, it's a lot to take on.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So I can understand like his part on things, but again, I'm not knowing any of this, so.
Well, and the thing is, it was dumb. Like, we could have done it. It was just a control thing. It's not even like, oh, we can't afford it or whatever, because it's not like you had any expectations of anything super
and our
glamorous
wedding
at
was
all.
Like,
no.
Cheapy, like DIY, like it. You know, we literally like made a lot of things, and friends helped absolutely, like they did, right? But so I think rewinding, obviously, like I had asked you to be. One of the maid of honors, and so we were because again we were closer than ever, and so it was going to be you and Mel, and then Dan was actually going to sing. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah.
So but then I think it was like, I think literally we were at the gym one day talking about the wedding, and then I got an email from you the next morning.
It's great timing. Yeah, it's just you're like. Sorry. No, I'm sorry. I am sorry.
I mean, So like, it wasn't like there was anything weird in our friendship. No. It was literally like, well, again, from my perspective, but again, I'm not knowing the Dan dynamic behind closed doors and what's going on behind closed doors. So like,
And that's the thing too. Like I've always struggled and still I'm working on it. I have a lot of things I'm working on because I'm a flawed person, but I've always struggled with boundaries. And I should have at certain points, like looking back and even through, you know, therapy, the therapist, like, it's like what you do in that situation, if you were to redo it, is like in the moment right away when you're feeling overwhelmed about one singular thing, you address it and then you say like, this is what I can do or not, this is how I'm feeling or whatever. Instead, but I wouldn't, because it's like, I don't know if I think I'm being a hero or whatever, like, no, it's fine, I can do it, I can do it. And then all these things pile up and then all of a sudden I'm overwhelmed and I don't want to admit, maybe probably is being embarrassed and also don't want to let you down. I don't want to disappoint you. So, but then it's worse what I do, because then pulling back, that was way worse, right? And so then I basically just resigned my position of maid of honor.
Sorry, then you kind of broke up with me in a second, you know?
Right. And just like, was like, you know,
you pretty much just was like, I can't do this.
Yeah. Which without a lot of explanation. That's what was not fair. It's fine, actually, I think, to even, if you can't, even if someone asks you to, and you can't do it,
absolutely.
It's fine. Where I went wrong, I did not give you really the respect.
Right.
And for how close we were, I should have sat down with you and talked it all out and let you ask questions. I should have said how I'm feeling. I should have let you respond. You never got to respond or anything. I just was like, I'm overwhelmed. I'm upset. I'm just pulling back.
And to your credit, though, only because I went back and recently read the emails.
Oh, gosh. I don't even remember them. I'm just trying to blank it out, I think.
I want to read them with the head of I want to read them with like what, now that I know what you were going through, I feel like I could read them from a different angle than just my hurt. Right. And so I went back and read them. And like, even at the end of the one email, the second time, I remember you just kind of saying like, I can't do this. I can't be in the wedding. It's like too much. You're expecting too much of me, whatever it was. And then, but if you want, like, Dan can still play at the wedding, and I'm happy to sit down and have a conversation with you. You did say that.
Oh, good. So, okay, I was more brave than I remember.
Yeah.
So I'm not being that brave.
But I mean, I think for me,
You were just like pissed. Well, and mid-wedding, you're already stressed with the wedding. You're trying to blend two families together. Like, that's a lot. Yeah. And then this is as if you needed that.
Right.
Like,
so I think, but to your credit, it's not like you just like broke up with me and like left it. You had said, I needed to get this out via email, but like, if you want, I'm around to chat.
And you were like, hell no, girl. We are beyond that.
You know, again, I'm a loyalist to a default, but I think what happened in my mind was like, I was like, you know what?
Screw you.
Kind of, well, I was like, you fool me once, that's one thing. You fool me twice.
Right. Strike two, you're out.
Strike two, you're out. So I think I literally wrote you back and was like, it was so short. It was like, thanks, please tell Dan we don't need him.
I hope you fall off a cliff.
I hope you have a great life. Like, it was like... And I remember like phoning my friends being like, what the actual is happening? Like, how is this happening again? But I think, and that one, I think for me, I also love that we can laugh about this now.
It's so funny, eh?
Yeah, just make it laugh. But I think again, it goes back to that abandonment with the whole maid of honor best friend thing again. And I was like,
right. And I never even put that together.
Gosh.
Which is stupid. I should have known that. Like but I never even put that together until really recently.
You're like until this moment, right?
This moment,
right now.
Oh yeah.
No, but it's true. Like because of what happened in my first marriage, and then I'm like, so when I ask somebody to be at my wedding, it's like important and whatever, and then I'm like, in my mind, like this was just me being like honest. I'm like, how dare she? Like, do you know how many people that would love to stand up beside me? Like
this is a privilege.
Amazing.
Yeah. Exactly. But on to the next person. Literally,
idiot.
Like,
yeah, but no, but like I think it's just because like I was, you know, like my friends mean everything to me.
Yeah.
And so I think I felt like super hurt. And I do think I think I did end up writing an email or it was a text or something. I think. I'd have to go back and look. You're like, no, please don't. No. But I think that I was like, feel free to come to the wedding or something. I can't remember, but I think when we got a bit closer, I think I said something. But at that point, like I was just like,
feel free to just eat a box of rat poison.
I mean, I was like, because I mean the hurt was there, and again, I was just kind of like, okay, this one time. The second time, and again, I think it was just the way that it was done. Like, had you said, hey, we need to have a conversation. Yeah. Can we chat?
Right. Like, I shouldn't have put it in the email and then said, let's chat. I should have talked to you.
Right.
And just like, the email could have just been like, we need to have a conversation. Right. But I shouldn't have went. Because you know what? I don't like that. I don't want to hear serious things about someone through like text or email. Like, and it's funny. Well, and I guess like we're young back then. It's funny when as you get older, you're like, wow, that's really embarrassing way to behave. And then, like, I really hate confrontation, and I don't feel like I'm good at it.
I love it.
So, I know.
And that's probably why you were scared.
Oh, I was terrified. And I could see that I knew you were mad.
Right.
And I was like, oh, my goodness, now I'm literally scared. She's real mad.
Yeah.
And I understood why you were mad, but then it just made it like any reasoning I would have to maybe circle back and be like, hey, let's talk about it. I just didn't.
I wouldn't have even been able to see. I was seeing red too. Like at that point,
and then I was
because at the time our kids were at the same school.
Yeah.
And so
it was good times.
Like for that first couple months, I was still living in the area. Right. So like I would have to see you sometimes. See you at
pick up and drop off.
And I would be like, just like.
And I would feel it. My heart would be going. I'd be like, oh, she's here.
Yeah.
Like look down, it's fine.
You awkward never.
I know. I just was like, hey.
But that could be the difference too, is like you are somebody that like doesn't love confrontation. So you probably felt like I needed to get this out. Like get my words out through email or text or whatever. Yeah. Where like confrontation doesn't bother me. Like if I have something to say to me, freaking bring it.
Yeah.
And so
but
like
that's scary, Leah. For someone that's like, hey, so just wanted to bring up something small. Yeah. Like, I don't want to be in your wedding.
Yeah. I'm dropping out as maid of honor.
I was like, she might punch me in the face. So maybe I should just put this over email.
I know. Oh. But I honestly, like, looking back, I think there would have been such more understanding. Like, again, I don't like you don't like confrontation. It doesn't bother me. But if you had just said, like, hey, can we chat? I would love to come over.
Yeah.
And laid it out. I think we would have remained friends during that season because I think it would have been like, I don't like this.
Yeah. I'm
very hurt.
Yeah.
But I can understand.
And I think you would have felt respected in the moment to have that conversation as opposed to feeling betrayed.
Right.
And the way I went about it, you felt betrayed instead of respected. Not that it wasn't okay for me to bring that conversation, but I should have done it in a different way.
Absolutely.
Because I tell my kids this all the time. I'm always like, you can say whatever you want to me, to someone else. It's the way you go about it that matters.
Yeah.
And I did not follow my own advice in that, like, because I should have sat down with you. I should have been honest and then given you a chance to have a back and forth. Because also the thing, when you text or email someone,
back and forth.
right, you actually, it's rude because you don't allow the other person to have any input. You're just saying what you think and feel and pushing send, and that's that. And that's not right, you know?
And I think, like, it just gives you the chance to, like, go back and forth, to be like, hey, I might not like it.
Yeah.
I might not be, like, even love the decision you're making.
Right.
But I understand. And, I think we probably would have more remained friends.
Yeah.
But then again, at that point, I was like, oh.
And then by the time you were mad, then I just felt like it was a huge mess.
Right.
And then I felt embarrassed because that I knew that you would have to tell your other friends who were in the wedding, because, like, we'd already gotten together as, like, bridesmaids and stuff. And I was like, oh my goodness, they're all going to think that I'm just terrible.
Well, a lot of them just didn't like you for a season.
I don't
because
blame
they felt
them,
like they
of
had
course.
to pick up the pieces of different things,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
You know, but which lasts, because to this day, they're like, some of them held the, what's it called? The secondary offense, right?
Oh, yeah.
And they're like, you're starting a podcast with her?
Right.
What, like, can we address what went on? And they're like,
hopefully she doesn't just disappear and screw you over. Just Leah's doing the podcast on her own.
Literally, they were like,
disappears.
should, like, you discuss this? And I was like, well, like, we're going to have a conversation, but we decided to have it, like on camera, not live, but, like, on camera. And they were like, well, things need to be discussed. Like, we thought we don't like Pam. Like, what do you mean all of a sudden, Pam, everything's Pam?
You're like, sorry. And I do apologize to Leah's friends, and I understand about not liking me. I feel like that's fair.
Yeah.
So
but, you know.
And then that was the thing. Then I just felt like I made
course.
such a mess of it because I knew you were upset. I felt bad about upsetting you, hurting you. I felt bad about even just, like, pulling out of your wedding so close to the date. Then I knew that, like, all of your friends and other bridesmaids would be upset with me. So then it just felt like it was this huge mess, which made me then retreat even more instead of, like, because at any point you can deal with something and try to make it better. But and then it's like I knew you were moving. In a way, I was like, dang, I'm counting down the days. Let's wrap this up, Leah. Get out of Niagara.
Whoa, but let's address the elephant in the room. I'm forgetting.
Right.
But at the same time, Dan is trying to sell my house.
Right. That's right.
Which, like,
oh yeah, because I remember even it was like that conversation of like, oh, should he not sell the house? And then even I feel like that should, like, because my heart wasn't to hurt you, and I was like, no, because I knew he could help you on the commission side,
yes, absolutely,
and give you a better deal than somebody else, and I knew that you should get every penny you can from, like, the sale and whatever. So I would have never been like, no, don't sell her house. I wanted him still to help you. I didn't want to.
That was like a weird thing because, like, he'd come over, we'd be chatting about things, and at the same time, I'm going in a court battle about moving in general. Yeah. And then he's coming over. There's the elephant in the room that, like, you're now not coming to my wedding. You're not singing in my wedding, and your wife has deeked off somewhere. I don't even know where she is. She's like, and so, but, you know, he went on to sell my house. So thank you, Jesus, and thank you, you know, for that. But it was weird. Yeah. It was definitely a weird time, for sure. Yeah. And then I remember, so then I moved. And it just kind of like, you were always in the back of my mind.
Yeah, same.
Because, like, I was always like, I wonder how she's doing. You know, I'd come to St. Catharines for, like, certain things, and I feel like I would see you at a distance, or I would see certain mutual friends of yours, because then I got nervous to see your mutual friends. Because I was also like, what if she said to them?
What she said? Oh, exactly. What, like, and, like, it forced everyone to pick sides, right?
Of course.
Like, not that either one of us said that, but that's what you do as a friend.
Because we did have some mutual friends, you know, along in there that I felt like...
Seen a little sip.
Picked maybe, like, not your side, but I had moved away, and so maybe they just heard more.
Totally, of course.
Like, whatever. And so then I would feel nervous coming back when I'd, like, you know, I'd sometimes have to pick up Mel and Justin's boys from school, and I'd be like, okay, gonna have to see Pam today. Okay.
Don't worry, she won't talk to me or look at me anyways. It'll be fine.
It's true.
She'll just hide in her car.
There was days where I was like, please let it be Dan. Please let it be Dan picking up. Please let it be Dan. Because at least, like, I could talk to him. It was never like that weird whatever. But I kept thinking about you. And it's funny enough that, like, Alan, who's my now husband, you know, would say to me, like, you've never had, like an issue in your friendship before? Like, do you think that you want to reconcile this? And for like the first couple of years, I was like, hell no, like no. And he would even bring up your name, and I would see red. I would be like,
don't say
no,
that name
like
in this house.
we don't discuss that. Like, no. And he's like, I know, but like, he really tried. Like, he was like, but like, you know, God's heart is reconciliation. And I'm like, yeah, for some people, not this one, you know. And I was mad. Like, I was very mad, and I probably like let a root of bitterness, like, you know, get tighter and tighter and tighter. And so anytime like your name would come up, whatever, I would just roll my eyes and kind of be like, cool, glad she's doing well.
Yeah, you go
like,
be your friend, Alan.
Yeah, you go be your friend.
Good luck.
Yeah. Just freaking send you a text message and stick a dagger in your heart. I'm not kidding, but like, yeah,
Really
nice.
Really.
But, you know, so then he would keep trying to approach it with me, and I was not ready. And I think God was like definitely doing something in my own heart, because in my mind, again, like, I'm a loyalist until you cross me, and then I'm like, and we're done.
Yeah.
Like,
Now you're on the kill list.
yeah, honestly, like, obviously, again, I don't have issues. The only other person I ever had a big issue with was my ex, you know.
This feels good
maid
to
of
be in
honor.
the same campus.
I mean, two maid of honors. Look at that.
Oh my gosh, Leah!
Just kidding. No wonder I have abandonment and betrayal issues.
I'm just gonna. What is it they say? I'm gonna listen and not
Yeah,
judge.
we listen and we
It's
don't
fine.
judge.
It's fine.
But no, so honestly, like, I think, like, I'd written you off. But I think God just kept placing you on my heart and placing you on my heart. And then again, I feel like I didn't run into you anywhere in Canada.
Yeah.
But I ran into you once at Target.
I don't remember that. Where did
I
we
just
talk?
didn't know. No.
No, we just
you
went
ran.
by each
Like,
other. Oh, yeah.
you saw me and you like scurried.
That sounds about right.
yeah.
Sounds like what I would have done.
Yeah, you scurried.
I was like,
literally saw my face. You were coming out of the bathroom, but I talked to the person that you were with.
Oh, I was probably like, I don't have health insurance in the U.S. I'm gonna get away from her.
Like, get
She's
me out
gonna
of
punch
here.
my teeth out.
Yeah, like you like literally
no.
like I remember exactly. It was
Really?
at the front of the where the Starbucks is, and she
Okay.
came out and talked to me, and you like literally were like
like,
boot it into the bathroom, and didn't come out for a while. Because I remember hiding behind like the
I do not remember
yeah,
this.
I hid behind the
So
like
embarrassing.
racks to be like, is she gonna come out? Like, is she gonna come out? Like, yeah, and then I walked away because I was just like,
Yeah, you're like, no.
yeah, whatever.
You can stay in the toilet.
That's right. You're
That's
like,
where you belong.
yeah, you're like, you can stay there. Get out here. No, and then fast forward, I would have seen you probably, it was 2019, because it was the year, it was like COVID happened in the March. So 2019 in December, we were in Florida.
Yeah.
And I remember literally, like, I think we must have been on like the second floor, and
Yeah.
you would have been on the fourth.
Yeah.
Or vice
No,
versa.
I think we're in the bottom.
Okay, so maybe you
yeah.
were on the bottom
Yeah.
and we were on the fourth.
Yeah.
And I was loading my car with Alan, and I saw you like in the corner of my eye, and I was like, what are the chances? Sorry, you have like a black.
Sorry, get it.
It's just gone.
Get it.
I was like, what are the chances? And then I'm in my mind, I was like, oh God, like, what are you doing here? I'm not ready for this.
Yeah.
And then I think from my perspective, again,
Yeah.
you could have seen something there. We locked eyes again, and then you booted it.
Oh,
but maybe
probably.
you didn't see me. I don't know. Like, no, you definitely saw me.
Well, I didn't see you first because I was with my friend Crystal, and
Okay.
she told me that she saw you.
Okay.
And I was like, what? And she was like, and I thought it was someone who looked like
Right.
you. Because I'm like, same. What are the chances?
We're staying in the same place, same
Yeah.
week, same
But
time.
I think thankfully, like, you were just coming, and you came on our last day, or
Right.
we came on your last
Yes,
day, because it was
something.
like that one time that
Yeah.
Crystal pointed you out to me, and then we didn't see you
See each
again
other, yeah.
because I think we were right off.
Right off.
But
what
still,
are
that
the
was
chances?
crazy.
Like,
So crazy.
so then I was like, okay, Lord, like, are you trying to like spark something? But again, then I just ignored it because I was like,
no,
no, not
Hate
doing
or
this
guts.
again. Not doing it. Not doing it. And so I think just time led on, and then God just began to like do something in my heart. And again, I kept thinking about you. I never wished you death or like wished you unwell.
sure?
Like, well, maybe the first couple months, but like years later, no. And and I think at this point it had been like, so that all that went down in 2016. And then I want to say in COVID, but I think it was not like, I think it was 2022. Maybe 2021, but
Yeah.
2021, 2022,
Yeah.
I just reached out to you.
Yeah.
And I think I sent a text that said, I can't stop thinking about you.
Yeah.
I hope you're doing well. Would you ever want to meet for coffee?
Yeah. And I had been thinking about you too. So I was like right away, just like, yep.
Which I was not
Amazing.
expecting, because one of I don't even know how much to get into this, but like one of the messages that you had sent me was like, you're too much, like you're always texting me and I can't respond fast enough. And you're just like, are you alive? Kind of like your other friend when you're like, are you alive? Are you? Because I would write multiple messages to be like, where are you? You just fell off we were in a conversation then, and I'm not talking an hour later, like 4 days later, I'm like, okay, are you responding? Like, hello? And so I think I went into even texting you with a wall up because I was like,
right, she's not even gonna.
Okay, well, is she gonna respond or is it? But you like, I remember it was like seconds, and I was like, oh, okay, this is happening.
Yeah,
this is happening. And then we met in Niagara, and we walked the Niagara Gorge. No, we didn't meet the gorge, the Niagara Glen.
Yeah,
in COVID.
Yeah,
and I think we walked outside in the cold because it was like February.
Yeah,
for hours.
Right. Yeah, we did. Yeah, and we didn't talk about it.
Nope.
We talked about other things.
Yeah.
We just pretended as if
it didn't exist.
But I think that was sort of nice in a way because I think we both came like apprehensive, and then we kind of just like enjoyed each other's company.
Yeah.
And didn't get into like the nitty gritty of it all.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. And we just talked, and you told me where you were at and your story. And then I remember thinking at that moment too, I had more of an understanding and an empathy for you because I was like, whoa. And then I remember thinking, this makes sense.
Yeah.
Like now it makes more sense to me. This is what she was going through. This is what life was looking like for her. And then I think God just gave me like a compassion, and like all anger left. Like I was just like, okay, like this is, and then we just stayed in touch for the next couple years.
Yeah. And we
I was still living
like
apart.
halfway, like at malls and stuff when you were still living away. And
I mean, I think I always had because texting was that issue with us too. I think I always would have a bit of a wall up. Like, I'm not going to overwhelm her. I'm not going to text her. I'm not going to, and I'd be like, well, I'll wait till she reaches out to me. Like I was going in very, at least me and maybe you can answer too, like cautious. Like I was like, oh, like you fool me once, you fool me twice. There's no third time.
Yeah. Right.
Then
you better watch your back.
I'm coming with dagger. Like you're saying, this is your warning.
Okay. Noted. Got it.
Yeah. No, but like, I think I just,
no.
Yeah. Like I think I've gone in with this third time's a charm very cautiously.
Well, and I feel like that because of everything that's happened, like taking it slow is really the only way. Like we couldn't, because you do have to rebuild trust with each other, right?
With each other,
you just, that's part of it. And to have something that's like long lasting in the future, you have to, and I don't have, like, I very much understand that. So even now, like, I know, like, I love you, I love spending time with you, but I can feel the bit of wall maybe from both of us, but to me, I'm just like, well, that's okay, because that is going to be there while you're still building up trust. And and I think too, like, something I've learned, well, we've talked about, even we've had great responses from the podcast, but there has been a couple in the minority feedback of people saying, like, should you be sharing this? Like, isn't this something private just between in your family or whatever? And I just think even the situation that happened with us is such a perfect example of why now I don't agree with that. I lived that life for 14 years.
Like secrecy.
Right? Of not saying anything and feeling bad. Like, oh, we shouldn't say, we shouldn't share, and you shouldn't overwhelm people, and you shouldn't blah, blah, blah. But all that does is cause destruction. Yeah. Like, it caused destruction in our relationship because I wasn't fully transparent with someone I'm so close to. Yeah. In my own family, there's been relationships where, like, after things came out, people felt betrayed. Like, I wasn't real and honest. And my intention wasn't to be deceptive. I thought that I should protect. I thought I should keep secrets. I thought, that it's not appropriate to talk about it. And now I just encourage anybody, like,
lay it out.
You can tell the truth about what's going on. It doesn't mean that you're trying to, like, gossip about someone or break them down. But if you're struggling, especially with people that are close to you, like your good friends, your family, you need to be honest. It doesn't serve anybody to keep secrets and try to be this hero that doesn't say or doesn't communicate, because then you have these dysfunctional behaviors that are coming out and people can't figure out why. It's like, well, why aren't you responding? Why is this happening? Why is that? And they can see like the symptom of it, but they don't know the root cause.
That's right.
And then that causes breakdown with the people that you are close to and that you need in
Yeah.
your life.
Yeah.
And you just end up like pushing them away.
Absolutely.
So I'm trying so hard to
Yeah.
go forward in a different way of
Yeah.
like not
and being
keeping
honest.
secrets and being
like,
honest. Yeah.
And I think that's something even as we started the podcast, it was like, okay, like how are we going to do like this part or how are you going to do this part? Because we don't want that like, I think we're almost like overly tiptoeing, like overly cautious.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's a bad thing.
No. And there's a balance. Like, you don't want to unnecessarily share things that are, just to make someone look bad.
No.
But you can just tell the truth about what you're going through.
Yeah.
You don't have to.
And gossip is not, when it's about you, like, it's not gossip.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you're sharing a story about some, like your friend's friend, that's not my business to share. Yeah. But when it's my story and my life, you have every right to share your story.
And it's taken us both a long time to get there. Like, for me, like 6-7 years, you a little bit longer, where we also didn't share this way, for a while, but now realizing like it's actually helpful. And then all the feedback we've gotten too, where people are saying, this has happened to something similar. I'm glad you shared this. I don't feel as alone. Or even asking questions, well, what did you do when this, because I'm going through that. And you just think that's amazing actually that you can share and support each other. And that can be a friendship strengthening thing. Yes. And I feel like that's where I went wrong, is like in the way that I didn't maybe fully disclose everything to you, and then I wasn't even honest with you about things I was feeling overwhelmed with just with our relationship. What could have made our relationship stronger by having some of those hard conversations. Instead, the way I chose to deal with it was destructive, and it ruined our friendship. And that's really sad, right? Like, it didn't have to be that way.
We lived a lot of life. Like, sometimes we'll be chatting. We're just saying this before we started recording. And I'm like, sometimes I'll say something to you and I'm like, wait, no, like you were not there for that 7 years. Like, or I'll be like, do you remember this? And you're like, no. And you almost like are like that nervous, like
people. I think hard conversations, what I've learned is getting older, is the buildup is worse than the actual conversation. Right? You think it's going to be hard. You think they're going to be blah, 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 blah. 9 times out of 10, it's people are way more gracious and understanding, and the conversations go way better. And you leave there feeling like, oh my goodness, like that went way better than I thought. I should have just done that in the first place. Right? But if you're not brave enough to even just sit down and have the conversation, then inevitable destruction follows. Where at least if you have the conversation and you're honest, you have a chance at, and that's the thing, I should have said to you, like, I'm under an immense amount of stress and pressure. I'm feeling too stressed out to answer these, or I can't, like right now with what's going on, I'm not going to be answering texts and stuff like promptly and maybe at like a normal speed of a normal person, because I'm so overwhelmed with stuff that has nothing to do with you. But I still can't then respond to those things from you, which I guess that's what I was feeling like. It doesn't have to do with you. So then I would feel bad, and it wasn't even just you. It was like other people too. Like other people I wasn't responding to. I was just kind of shutting down and breaking down, which,
Well, and you were under immense stress. And like, so that's what I mean. Like when I went back and listened to them, I was like, I could see it from a whole other lens, which I think perspective is everything. Right? So now I'm looking back at like almost like a bird's eye view because I know what you were going through. And so to read those messages, some people were like, maybe that wasn't the healthiest thing to do. I was like, no, actually it was though. Because I'm like, I have so much grace toward it now. And, even some people are like, how are you starting the podcast without addressing like
I've had the thought, how are we doing
this, right? But I think because we've lived a lot of life together and I know your heart. And so even when I was mad and like, whatever, like even in those like angry moments, like I knew your heart. So I was like something else, kind of like your grumpy old neighbor. I was like something else is going on. Like,
and I feel like you said that too. Like
I did. And then you came back to me the first time and was like, no, you were right. And then, well, I mean, you're kind of saying it now for the second time, right? But it's that reminder to have the hard conversations and to rebuild. Like, what does friendship look like when something does happen? How can you rebuild? And I feel like we're the prime example of this. Like,
I know. Well, I've had so many people who like, because I have a lot of friends that I've made maybe in the last 6 or 7 years that never knew you.
Right.
And people even like, who's this Leah? And then people are like saying to me like, you guys have the greatest friendship. I'm just like, we do, but also there's this like thing that happened that you're like, oh my goodness. And yeah, it's just been funny that way to have, but also like a reminder that like that is something special to have a friendship like we have. And so dumb that we let it go for so long. But I do honestly think it was the distance. Probably we both just allowed it to be like, well, whatever. It's easier. It's like hours. We live 2 hours away from each other now. It's just easy to not have to address it. Whereas I wonder if we would have got here way quicker, which I wish we would have. Because and I feel like what I think both you and I are so many years like healed out of like the fresh sting of trauma, right? Like obviously there's still lingering things, but I can even just feel it that you and I are able to have this better relationship now because you are like older and wiser and you see the world different. And I think like both of us, even at that time, part of the reason it got so volatile, like where we ended a friendship, right? It's like you were still freshly traumatized and then also taking on this new endeavor. So you have all those pressures. So I'm just not coping well, like barely. Totally. It just was terrible.
Yeah.
Those people coming together like that, that's sort of a recipe for disaster, right? Like we both needed someone to be strong for each other, but neither one of us were able at that time, right?
Because we were both going through disastrous things. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
And so I just think we let it get to a point of like no return.
Yeah.
Right? And now we're writing. Now we're filming podcasts together and people are like, oh my gosh, like and I'm like,
I know.
Just wait till the friendship episode. I know. But I think this was good.
I feel like my cheeks, are they really red? No. I feel like burning. It's just on the inside.
Probably it's your inside. You're burning from the inside out.
Body temperature.
You know, but I think it needed to be had. And I think moving forward, you know, it's just telling people like have the hard conversations. Yeah. And look, I mean, we are living proof that the sunny side is friendship out of this episode.
And out of forgiveness and grace, right? Of just being willing to revisit something again, even where there's been like multiple hurt and just be like, no, what happens if we offer like grace and forgiveness for each other?
And a lot of that comes through healing, right? Because I think that betrayal with the abandonment was so deep the first 2 times that I needed that space because I wasn't even fully healed post-divorce. Yeah. And because I'm sure I didn't do things well either. Like, yes, I was going through a ton too, but it's that reminder to be like, even when you're going through a lot, try to like still have understanding for other people that are still going through stuff. Yeah. Right? Yeah. And because probably I didn't do that well either. Yeah. But it's like, pull up your socks, kind of like pull your stuff together because like there's beauty in friendship and sharing. And you just got to get there. Yeah. You just got to get there.
And I'm so glad we got there.
We are here and it's good. Yeah. And I think, you know, now that people can understand even this story, hopefully it connects and they can even look at the next few episodes like differently.
Yeah. Yeah. And know like anything is possible really. Like any sort of, you never know. You never know what's going to happen.
Make the phone call. Yeah. Send the text. Only if it's kind.
And only if the person responds.
Yes. But like, do it. Like if there's somebody in your life that you're like, oh man, like I've been thinking about you. I don't know. Just like,
just like let your pride down. Because if either one of us was like too proud to, then we wouldn't have what we have now. Right. And like the friendship we've been able to enjoy the past couple years.
Yeah,
right?
It's true. It's true. So make the phone call. Find your friends. Love them hard.
I feel like I have like a pounding headache of the stress of this episode.
It's been stressful, but it's been good.
I know, but you're so gracious. I just love you so much.
I just like so thankful. It's good. Honestly, yeah. Reconciliation and grace is what's needed. And then you can move forward to beautiful things. So that's it. It's been a slice.
I feel like I need to lay down or something.
Slice. I was going to say it's been a slice. I'm hungry for pizza.
Your closers are getting They are something.
I'm gonna chat
That's
GPT
like your
it.
Mrs. Doubtfire moment. I
Yes,
have to say,
for
you're
sure.
you're like
I'm awkward
very
too.
cool and calm until the closing sentences.
Because I just don't know how to say
talking
goodbye.
about?
I'm like, okay, bye.
Spin a slice.
Bit of slice. Give me that slice of pizza. Okay, guys, it's been great.
Sorry.